When you think of the Second World War, what do you see? Columns of German soldiers in steel helmets? The rumble of panzer tanks? Or perhaps the gleam of a short metal barrel protruding from the hands of every German soldier? That's the MP-40, the submachine gun that became the face of the Wehrmacht. The MP-40 was more than just a weapon. It was a symbol of the lightning war, the Blitzkrieg, a symbol of German precision, discipline, and fear. But few know that this weapon, which the whole world calls German, was not born from a desire to kill faster, but from the ambition to make war more efficient. And this story began long before 1940. In 1918, Germany capitulated. The country was humiliated, its economy devastated, and the Treaty of Versailles forbade the production of most types of weapons. But history teaches, when a nation is humiliated, it begins to prepare for revenge. While the world celebrated peace, in the silence of underground laboratories and factories a new idea was born, the idea of mobile, fast weapons. Weapons that would allow a single person to stop a dozen enemies. The MP-18 appeared too late to change the course of the First World War, but it managed to show the essential. The future of war belongs to automatic weapons that can be carried in the hands. All of this was part of a game in which the German gunsmithing school not only survived, it accumulated experience. And when the world began to speak of war again, this knowledge became the foundation for a new masterpiece, the MP-38. The MP-38 was not just an evolution of an idea. It was a revolutionary step. A lightweight, all-metal construction, a folding stock, suitability for tank crews, paratroopers, and mechanized units. It was a weapon designed for a new kind of war, fast, mobile, lightning-like. And already a year later, in 1940, its younger sibling would appear, the MP-40, a weapon that would become the symbol of an entire era. When the scent of a new war filled the air, German engineers had a clear task: to create a weapon that would be lightweight, easy to operate, and cheap to produce, something that could be issued to every mechanized soldier, paratrooper, and crew member. The idea was not to invent a complex engineering masterpiece, but to create a working tool that would withstand the battlefield and, at the same time, be mass-produced. The MP-38 entered service as an answer to that challenge, well thought out, neat, and technologically advanced. But its successor, the MP-40, was born in workshops and on assembly lines under the pressure of time and necessity. The main innovation was the shift from expensive machined parts to stamped steel components, an approach that reduced time and material costs, greatly simplified the mechanics, and sped up assembly. This was not about aesthetics, this was about function. The MP-40 looked simple, but that was its strength: a thin tubular receiver, a folding metal stock designed for paratroopers and vehicle crews, and a straight 32-round magazine for the 9x19mm Parabellum. A simplified bolt group, Bakelite grips, and minimal expensive machining, all of this made the model ideal for mass production. Technically, the MP-40 fired from an open bolt in fully automatic mode, at a rate of about 500 to 550 rounds per minute, fast enough to cover an assault sector. At the same time, the recoil of the 9mm cartridge was manageable, and a soldier could keep the sights on target within the practical combat range for an SMG, up to 100 to 200 meters. By the logic of Blitzkrieg, that was perfectly adequate. A rapid assault, a few bursts to suppress, and the maneuver group moves on. An important element, ergonomics. The MP-40 was designed to operate in confined spaces: tanks, armored vehicles, the narrow ladders of landing craft. Its lightweight, ability to fire from awkward positions, and quick readiness made this weapon a genuine tactical advantage. That's why it quickly became popular among infantry, paratroopers, and vehicle crews. Equally important was the production aspect. Factories that mastered stamping and standardization could manufacture the MP-40 in large quantities. For war, that meant one thing: quantity turned into advantage. This weapon wasn't meant to be perfect in every sense. It only needed to be good enough and, most importantly, available in large numbers. The story of the MP-40's creation is a story of compromises, between perfection and simplicity, between precision and mass production, between aesthetics and practicality. These very compromises made it the symbol of the Blitzkrieg, Not a single engineering triumph, but a combination of solutions that brought speed, mobility, and firepower to the battlefield. When columns of tanks and motorized units raced forward, there needed to be a rifleman who could fill the empty, close combat spaces, narrow streets, courtyards, trenches, and buildings where a tank could not go. For that purpose, the MP-40 proved to be the ideal tool. Its role on the battlefield was not to deliver long-range aimed fire, but to provide quick, dense fire support where seconds decided the fate of units. In the first campaigns, Poland, 1939, France and the Netherlands, 1940, Norway, the MP-40 proved itself in a wide range of conditions. Paratroopers and assault groups landing to seize key objectives valued it for its compactness and rapid readiness. Tank crews and armored vehicle crews kept the MP-40 as their primary means for close combat in case of dismounting. Rapid raids, clearing buildings, suppressing resistance in narrow corridors. Wherever a rifle was clumsy, the submachine gun performed better. Wehrmacht Blitzkrieg tactics often relied on fast maneuvers by small groups, assault teams that followed the armor. The MP-40 allowed these teams to instantly create a fire advantage, short bursts at enemy windows and doors, control of passages and corridors, quick suppression of resistance before the infantry advanced. In open country and at long ranges, it did not compete with rifles. It was a weapon for close contact. An important tactical nuance: MP-40s were often not distributed evenly across the infantry line but concentrated in the hands of squad leaders and specialists, the generators of lightning attacks. Thus, one or two weapons in a squad could serve as mobile fire points that changed the character of an engagement. In urban fighting, they were used to clear floors, in wooded areas, for close firefights and ambushes. Soldiers liked the ergonomics, lightweight, a convenient folding stock, and the smooth recoil of the 9x19mm cartridge. But critical remarks appeared too. The MP-40 was sensitive to dirt and rough handling in field conditions. Its thin construction sometimes proved less durable than bulkier designs. Also, the straight magazine and open bolt position affected reliability in dust and sand, so in deserts and eastern expanses the weapon required more careful maintenance. Despite this, the MP-40's impact on tactics was noticeable. It made close combat more intense and brutal, enabled rapid assault groups, and increased the mobility of combat units. Commanders learned to use short bursts for suppression, combining the MP-40 with machine gun and armored support, and this combination often decided the success of lightning operations. When the MP-40 appeared in a clash, it changed the dynamics of battle. Not as a perfect instrument, but as a practical, fast, and available means that provided local fire superiority exactly where it was most needed. After the war, the MP-40 did not disappear with the Reich. Captured stocks, abandoned arsenals, and thousands of units left across Europe fed the post-war arms market. During Reconstruction and in local conflicts, some models ended up in the hands of police forces, partisan groups, and irregular militias, sometimes once again serving as an effective close combat tool. A number of museum exhibits and private collections preserve the MP-40 as a symbol of the era, imperfect but recognizable. The cultural legacy of the MP-40 proved even more significant. It became an iconic element in films and documentaries about the Second World War. The image of the MP-40 instantly conveys the context of the era. For historians and collectors, this submachine gun is a subject for studying the compromises of wartime engineering, how the drive for mass production and economy shapes a weapon's appearance and capabilities. Thus, the fate of the MP-40 is not only a story about a technical model, but a narrative about how weapons pass from hand to hand, becoming trophies, instruments of resistance, or museum pieces. In each of its lives, the same fact was reflected. In war, victory sometimes depends not on the perfection of a design, but on how many of those designs can be rapidly put into people's hands.